I'm too sexy for this shirt. Too sexy for this shirt. Too sexy for this shirt. Too sexy for this I'm.
Was that a bar?
Isn't that what he says?
I don't know. I'm not really paying attention. It's pretty shit.
I'm too sexy for Milan. This
Could
and terribly episode 24.
Done though. What it do, baby?
We are back like we never left. Our podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is always going to be an hour and a half to 2 hours long. If long podcasts aren't for you, we aren't for you.
Nah. Listen to us in 3 parts.
No.
Take a break and come back.
I don't care how you listen to it. The whole point is you probably don't have an hour and a half to hour 45-minute commute, so break it up. Break it up.
So then we are for them.
Don't come to me saying you need to make
smart.
the podcast shorter.
Oh.
I don't come to you and tell you how to run your house.
Oh, very good.
Get out of my face.
Someone's got a bee in their bonnet this
I
morning.
mean, I don't like it.
Okay.
Someone told me, he gave me a lot of criticism about the podcast.
Was it constructive or was he just on arms?
Well, I thought it was, first of all, he asked me how it was going. So I was like, okay, taking an active interest. And then proceeded to telling me why, long podcasts don't make sense. And, don't you think that you got a news podcast that comes out fortnightly? Does the news not get stale? No, because we are very good at what we do.
Nope.
So, if long podcasts aren't for you, do your thing. If you want to spend half an hour listening to Serial or any of these little niche things, I don't know, about Italian restaurants in fucking Palermo where you can get the best squid, go and do that. That's for you.
Is there a podcast about that?
I'm sure.
That sounds kind of lit. I might check that one out still.
And then he proceeded to telling me that he hasn't actually listened to the podcast.
I was about to ask, yeah. Because it sounded like it was general chit-chat. This is why long podcasts in general don't work.
If it's long format, people prefer visuals on YouTube, innit?
Yeah. Spare me. Limited capacity for that shit. Anyway, to everybody else who's showing love. Episode 23, we had our first guest. Shout out Jessica Noah Morgan again.
Shout out.
Very good.
She was in Peckham. Did you guys see her in Peckham this weekend?
Apparently so.
Still dissing. She needs to relax. But yeah, shout out to everybody who showed love on the last episode. Shout out to everybody who's been showing love throughout all of our 24 now episodes. You can listen to us on all of these streams now. We added Amazon Music to it, but it's Amazon Music. It's Apple Spotify,
Apple Spotify,
Apple and Spotify, SoundCloud and YouTube.
If you're nasty,
Big up to the fam. First things first, because this is hot off the press, we have a new champion.
That's right.
Emma.
The most assured performance in a US court by a Brit since Hugh Grant got away with getting a blowjob in a car in 1995.
Arguably George Galloway hotting man up.
That was in the Senate.
Well.
I mean, if I was Prince Andrew's lawyer, I'd be confident seeing a Brit perform so well in the US court.
Oh right, they got Prince Andrew as well.
Well, I think they delivered papers, didn't they?
They got him. Each man tried to jet out to Balmoral.
Yeah. If I were 21 Savage, I'd fire my immigration lawyer and hire Emma Raducanu.
100%. But shout out to Emma Raducanu. What can I say? This young woman has been in 4 competitions. One was like something in Bristol, or I don't know where it was. One was in like something called the Silicon something, and then there was Wimbledon where she obviously had that little mini heart attack and had to pull out.
She had a panic attack.
Same shit. I'm joking. And now here she is.
First woman qualifier to win a Grand Slam. Pretty mad.
2.5 million in the bank, cha-ching.
Cash, baby.
I really, really hope that we are able to protect her at all costs. I think the UK hype machine that is the press can be probably equally, if not more, taxing on your ability to shine than your unbelievable talents. So hopefully the people around her are able to protect her, because I genuinely believe this is like the making of something great. But anybody who watched it, boy, you would have seen the talent in front of your own eyes. And what's the other girl's name? Layla Fernandez,
yeah.
Shout out her as well. She was fire
as well, yeah.
She was sick. So if these two shoot up, and you got people like Coco Gauff and all these ones as well who are coming through, the future of female tennis is amazing.
Queen Naomi is still about as well.
Yeah, Naomi, she's still sick, right? But I don't know, man. That's an interesting one with regards to mental health and all of that, because she just pulled out again, didn't she? She pulled out of the US, or did she get...
I think she got beat.
She got beat or something quite comfortably by somebody who wasn't very good. So yeah, the verdict's still out on what happens with her, and if she actually sticks around, it wouldn't surprise me if she's just like, yeah, you know what?
Take the cash and bounce.
Yeah, let me just go do some humanitarian work or some shit. I don't know. But shout out Emma Raducanu. Tommy, happy Ethiopian New Year.
Happy New Year,
Thank you, brothers. Welcome Addi Summit.
Yes, that
Nkwana
one.
Derasachu, all of that.
Why are Ethiopians greedy? Why do they need their own one? Hit me.
So it goes back down to the calendar times,
Yes,
right?
same
So
as-
if you
same as
wondered
Rosh
why
Hashanah,
the
same
Orthodox churches and stuff celebrate Easter and Christmas on different dates, it goes back to 500 AD when the Gregorian calendar was
That's
invented.
right. That's right.
And the Catholic Church basically decreed that they were moving forward 7 years or some shit like this. And a bunch of other, and half the world basically did the same thing, but most of the Orthodox churches around the world did not. So it's basically a change in the way that they calculated the birth when Jesus Christ was born or something like that.
Yeah.
So as a result, we've just entered 2014, baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's today's second day of 2014, or actually first day of 2014.
That's quite dope.
Wow.
Also, if to blow your mind, when you're using the other calendar, we technically have 13 months. So there's 12 months, and then the 13th month is like a 5 or 6 day month.
What's the 13-month called?
I don't know. It doesn't have an English name. But like that's why the marketing around Ethiopia is 13 months of sunshine for the tourists.
Oh, very good.
The tourist board marketing. It's been like
That's
that.
very good.
So it's like it's historic. It's biblical, baby. To answer your question, macro answer is it's biblical, innit?
Nigeria should have their own Happy New Year. Be
Like an extra month.
It'd be like sponsored by Hotmail or some shit.
But it's not just New Year though, right? Because of the calendar being off whack, that means like your Easter, like Russians and Coptic Egyptians and Greeks and all the big Orthodox churches of the world will celebrate Christmas and Easter off calendar to what we would you would.
Orthodox Christmas is consistently on the Feast of the Epiphany, right? It's always on 6th
the
of Jan.
calendar's always the same.
So like the Jews use the Gregorian calendar as well, similar. But as it translates to the regular calendar here, the dates of high holidays move. So Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are never on the same date each
I was
year.
actually going to segue quite nicely on the subject of calendars. Shana Tova, Johnny Vivas and the Jewish man them.
Well,
it's been a
here.
week for New Year's
Couldn't
for
wait to
everybody
put it in,
but me.
Yeah, basically had to jump the gun.
Yeah,
but
this guy.
why
The Gregorian calendar is the one that's being used right now.
Okay,
in the
but
rest
does
of the world.
Ethiopian New Year move? Does the date
No,
move?
unless it's a leap year.
Okay.
So it's September 11 always.
Okay.
And then a leap year it's September 12.
Oh, okay,
So
very
it doesn't move. No.
Fine. So it's slightly
always-
different.
yeah.
Very good, yeah.
Brother,
But it's not like I think some like I don't know about Shovatova, but I know the
Shovatova.
Shovatova.
in
Sounds like a
Islam.
Russian tennis player.
Bora Bora.
But in Islam, I think it's like around the moon, right? So then when the holidays are centered around the moon, that's
Yeah.
when you have like moving dates.
Lunar calendar, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have specified dates that way.
So how was the apple and honey? How was it?
It was sweet and bitter.
Yeah.
Bit of that, yeah. But the big
What's the
one,
tradition behind that?
to start off the year with something sweet, and then I think it's something bitter, just so you feel guilty about being a Jew. A lot of Judaism is rooted in self-guilt.
So what was bitter there? The apple?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The apple.
I can't be doing that.
And then
bitter apples.
Thursday,
That's how you know it's a good life, isn't it? When the apple's the only bitter thing.
Can you imagine?
golden delicious. And then it's Yom Kippur on Thursday. That's the butters one. That's very, very grim. That's to be even more self-admonishing than the Muslims. We have to fast for 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's not just a sunrise to sunset thing. So that's going to be butters. Don't chat to me on Thursday because I'm going to be in a very bad mood.
You're going to do it, yeah?
Yeah, I do it every year.
You do it every
It's
year,
the only thing I do. Well, it's the only thing a lot of Jews do. It's like the only day you have to really turn up for.
How do you anticipate it? Do you just like stuff your face in the days before?
So you drink a shit ton of water and eat.
Are you allowed to drink during the day?
No.
You can't consume anything.
No
basically.
food, no water for 24 hours.
Oh, wow. That's strong.
There's butters. So you have to drink a lot of water in the days leading up to it, hence the bottle of Evian. And then try and stuff yourself on Wednesday evening before sunset.
How much water do you get through on an average day?
I try and do my 2 litres a day.
Okay.
Or about 1.5 litres, my Evian bottle.
Yeah, something like that. Liter and a half.
Same. I'm
I
like
don't
two
quite
to
hit
three.
two, I think.
It's good for the skin, isn't it? You know what I mean?
But you go to the toilet like every 20 seconds.
That's fine. It means I have to do less work.
Yeah. And nobody likes orangey pee as well. So
How's your week been, Rich?
yeah, good man. I was in Poland.
Oh, come
this
on.
week.
Travelling
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, man. Finally on the road for work and that. It was interesting. Poland, I went for the first time to Warsaw about 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm not going to lie, when I came back, I was like, don't think I need to revisit. But then I got this role.
Very good.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to be in Poland quite a bit more now. So yeah, I was excited to go. And to be fair, going out there, they've regenerated it quite a lot. There's a lot more in terms of opportunities and skyscrapers and cooler places to go out and all this other stuff. So it's great
Gotta thank
in
the EU.
some respects. England were in town this week, World Cup qualifier. So we managed to snag some tickets to go to the game.
Oh, very nice.
The National Football Stadium of Poland. Got in there, sat down with two of my colleagues, both Polish, and they had these flags, got the Polish flags on your seats. And, I was getting involved. I didn't want to, I was already sticking out. But
Were you in the home end? Were you in the Polish end?
I mean, it was literally 56,000 Polish people there. So it wasn't really an England end at all. So I'm there just trying not to stick out more than I already was. So I'm there like cheating on the Queen by waving this Poland flag, right? And then...
She's an ally now as well.
Yeah, and then my colleague goes out to get some drinks, so I let him out. He comes back, so I let him in. We sit down, there's no action, it was a dead game. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes in my face, and then he starts saying something in Polish, but it doesn't seem very wholesome.
Okay.
So I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, he whipped the Poland flag from underneath my feet.
Right.
Waved it in my face and was like, da 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 da.
Holy shit.
Oh, you're
Apparently I'd been standing on the flag without actually knowing it.
Poor form.
Yeah.
And he was not happy.
Yeah, boy.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Social faux pas.
So I turned back because he went behind me with his gang of hooligans. And I turned around. I read the room. There were a few of them. I was outnumbered. And I didn't quite know if my colleagues were going to back the war. So I looked at them and I was like, what? Relax. Brother, if I was going to disrespect you and your country, probably wouldn't do it in a stadium with 56,000 because they just announced full capacity. 56,212 fans. If I was going to disrespect you, I probably wouldn't do it here. Thankfully, one of the five had a little bit of reason and he calmed the whole situation down. But I spent the rest of the 89 minutes watching over my back.
Oh,
so
shit.
that was one of the least enjoyable football matches I've ever been to.
Sounds like the beginning of or the middle of that Dave Chappelle skit about when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
At that moment, Richard had a choice.
Yeah. True, yeah. And obviously they booed the knee at the start as well, which was also just awkward.
It's not ideal.
Which one of my clients apologized for the next day, actually, which, whatever. But yeah, other than that, Poland was great. The weather was glorious. It was a short trip there for a couple of days in total. But it's good to be back. I'll probably be out there a little bit more. But there are a few other countries that I also need to visit as part of my day-to-day. But I'm good otherwise. Very good.
Hopefully these other countries are less buoy going forward.
Guys, so what would you do? Lunch with Jay-Z or 500k?
Oh, 500k. Thanks for coming.
Give me the money.
The gush.
Why would people pick Jay-Z over 500k?
Surely it's ego-driven. Like, if you think that Jay-Z's going to have lunch with you and then remember you significantly to the extent he's going to invest in you.
Yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, listeners, there was this social media meme thing, discussion point, whatever you want to call it, going around. If you had the choice between lunch or dinner with Jay-Z or just being given $500,000, which one would you take? And amazingly, there are a bunch of people who are like, oh, if you go for lunch with Jay-Z, he's going to bestow upon you the wisdom that'll make you go and make 500 million. He might even give you like a stock tip or he might invest in your vision. And the rest of us were just like,
give me the bag.
Run me my cash, rude boy.
Yes. Check to the deposit accounts, please.
And it made me think, right? Once upon a time, when I was doing like my job, but covering like London clients, I got summoned, which sounds dodgy. I got summoned by one of the richest hedge fund managers in the world to his house to help him out with something on this service that we provide them. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be incredible because typically you go to these people's offices and stuff, but he was working from home. He was like, I need you to come over and fix this thing on my home setup. I was like, bet, I'll be over there. Unbelievable house in Chelsea.
Very good.
Unbelievable, right? Probably smaller than I actually expected, but I think he's one of the more humble billionaires. Now, to all the people who think that having lunch or having any exposure to people like this is going to give you tips and wisdom, let me tell you what he did.
Okay.
When I got there and I started like trying to learn a little bit more about him. He asked me, as if I were to know, how much have I been in the news this week?
How much he or you have been?
Him.
Okay.
And then proceeded to Googling himself in front of me.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me.
No, obviously not.
It was all about him.
Obviously.
Jay-Z will be no different.
Obviously.
So take the cash.
Do you know the amount of like ego and self-centeredness it requires to become that level of rich, that level of wealth?
Hell yeah.
How little
And,
you need
and
to
the
give a
number
shit
of body
about other
bags
people.
that are behind you.
RT, no?
There's no way you can make 10 figures and not have
And be fully kosher.
and not have
For real.
various graves that you've dug.
But this is what I was saying about these people who took the lunch. They must perceive themselves to be like that sufficiently important or great that somebody who's already an established billionaire is going to give a shit about
Not necessarily
any of
great,
their
but you
fucking
might have an
SoundCloud
idea.
mixtapes. Like,
Yeah, that's gas, right? But like, if you're some guy, I don't know, there may be a very specific subset of people who may benefit from the lunch more than 500 grand, but they are far fewer than the man who are hyping on Twitter.
But they don't.
and
They
Instagram.
probably don't need the 500 grand. By the time you're actually worth having a chat with Jay-Z about business, 500 grand is probably not that much to you. Run me the cash.
No,
And then if I
ultimately
can
you're trying to
flip it-
sell some shit, right? You're there trying to pitch some shit, and if it's like
Yeah.
tangentially linked to an industry that he's already in or whatever,
Yeah,
then
there's
you
plenty,
may make
there's
the
plenty of
argument.
businesses that are worth 500 grand, right? That's not
No,
an
you just
enormous
take the
number.
cash. The answer,
Yeah, take the
yeah,
cash.
the answer's the cash. Obviously.
See you later. Lunch
I
with
think
Beyonce.
Tidal,
Lunch with
even
Beyonce.
Tidal said take the cash.
Yeah, innit? Lunch with Beyonce
you see that?
or 500 grand.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
A more
Yeah.
interesting conversation.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was either Tidal. I think it was
Tidal,
Tidal.
it was
Yeah, I thought
Tidal.
it was Rock Nation, but it was Tidal. Even
Yeah.
Tidal, who were previously owned by Jay-Z, were like, take the cash.
That's good chat. Wavy chat.
So, apparently, Black Lives Matter has a new supporter, patron potentially, ally,
Oh, go on.
and fellow activist,
Oh, hello. Who's that?
the Queen.
Oh, boy. And yet here you were doing up the Polish flag. Betraying an ally.
Sir Ken Olisa, the first Black Lord Lieutenant for London, revealed to Channel 4 that he had discussed racism with members of the royal household in the wake of George Floyd's murder in the US.
Okay.
Asked whether the palace supported BLM, Olisa said, "The answer is easily yes."
Very good. Very good. As I imagine the conversation went something along the lines of, well, Oliver, or whatever your name is, I suppose we've got one of you in the family now, don't we? Be awful if people kept reminding us about, all the stuff we used to do in your grandparents' country 50 years ago. And so maybe we just do a little photo opportunity with whatever the coloured ones are called and call it a day.
Adjoa, a spokesperson for Black Lives Matter UK, said, "We were surprised to learn the Queen is a BLM supporter, but we welcome anyone that agrees with our goal of dismantling white supremacy."
I'm sure they're very interested in that, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, actions speak louder than words. The Queen sits on a throne made from colonial plunder. Until she gives back all of the stolen gold and diamonds from the Commonwealth and pays reparations, these are nothing more than warm words.
Get the Benin bronzes at the British Museum, baby.
The flip side of of our obvious cynicism is it could be some level of truth to it in the sense that she's about to die. So she's not she's 95. So she's not here for the marketing PR gas.
I hear
She's
this.
done.
I actually agree with
if
this.
it came from Prince Charles or or Prince William, who are essentially next in line and basically trying to protect the brand or the image.
Yeah.
Then you can make an argument that it's as I don't know. It's just as they're just riding the cultural wave that we're now on.
Yeah.
But with her, I mean, she's at the end of her life, basically. She's got nothing to positively PR for. So maybe we can afford to be ever so slightly less.
So
cynical.
are we saying?
I'm
Are we saying it wasn't Liz who asked what color the baby would be? Are we
I
gonna
don't
give
think
her-
it was her though.
You don't.
Who did we think it was again?
Actually, he confirmed it wasn't her. He said it
Oh, he said
wasn't
it
my
was my
grandma or my
grandparents.
granddad.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
basically the
bro,
dad.
innit?
It was
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah, it
obviously.
was William.
It was all William.
You thought it was William.
I thought it was William.
You thought it was William, but it
Yeah.
probably sounds more Charlesy than William.
I thought it was Philip.
But he said it wasn't Philip.
Oh, yeah,
Harry
yeah, of
said
course,
So
it
it's
was
not his
William.
grandparents. Yeah, it could have been Camilla. To be fair, she's
It could have
sus.
been, yeah.
But what is it about getting old? It's super, super annoying, and this is going to be a wild sort of parallel that I draw. But to your point about as people get older, they go one of two ways.
Yeah.
They either repent for all of their fuckery, or they double down on that shit, and they just get more longer in the tooth, more bitter, and they don't give a fuck who they offend. Why do we have to wait until people get this old until they're actually, I fucked up? It's kind of and again, going back to a very wild parallel, the whole Emmett Till thing, right? That young kid who got killed, barbarically in America because he apparently wolf whistled at this young lady. This young lady waited until she was on her fucking deathbed until she admitted in the end, nah, it wasn't that.
Actually, it never happened.
What is it about like getting to old age where people feel like,
I think
now's the time to do good?
No, but I disagree. So I find that they don't try to do. I think if you've got something to repent for, like something big like that, of course, like you're just trying to like clear your conscience before you meet your maker.
Yeah.
You know, but like generally speaking, the older people get, the more conservative they get.
Yeah.
Right? And this is why the average Fox News viewer is 92 or whatever the fuck the number is. So like it's, you know, whatever, the actual number is like 68 or something like that. So I think generally speaking, you just become more fearful, right? The older that fear, it's that fear that drives that, I guess, relative conservatism. Like,
It'd be interesting to know what the Queen actually said about Black Lives Matter, because she could have been like, obviously Black Lives Matter. Without them, we'd have no productive capacity in the colonies. Obviously Black Lives Matter. We need people to cut the sugarcane. We still do that, don't we? We still cut sugarcane in Ghana. Obviously Black Lives Matter because the NHS would crumble if we didn't import them en masse. Or is she actually down? Is she actually down to do the legwork? Fuck knows. I guess we find out.
definitely not down to do no legwork. She's a fucking queen. But like, you'd imagine that conversation was more of like an education than anything else. You'd imagine she's just asking questions. What is Black Lives? I mean, like, what is it?
Yeah,
and you know, and how many people around her can give her maybe
Is she an All Lives Matter stan?
that kind of answer? So
She
maybe
might be.
this brother, the first black Lord, whatever
Lord
he
Lieutenant
said,
of
Lord
London.
Lieutenant. Maybe that's why he was asked about it, because he was apparently has that perspective, and that's probably leads back into the arguments of why diversity in the workplace is important, right? Because then you have someone like that working in the palace who can give an opinion that's probably diverges from the other employees.
So watch this space. The next time you see the Queen, she might be out there rocking a dashiki.
Queen of the Commonwealth, baby.
Yeah, or
Fist in the air.
Yeah, or maybe even like a string vest, right? If we're talking about
Lizzie Dutty-Wise,
Lizzie Dutty
Just
Wise.
two-stepping with
Can
a
you
plate of
imagine the
jollof
Queen?
in her hand, like.
just ready for carnival.
Wheel up the blood clot. Oh man, so the world got crazy. Well, a certain part of the world got crazy. We already know America's shit crazy.
No, really?
Yeah, mad. But it got a little bit crazy in Texas
Oh,
in the last couple of weeks. You've probably heard a great deal about what's been going on. But it's actually not just about the abortion situation. Texas at the moment is going through quite a really, really radical... I mean, it's always been a little bit... I think in terms of red and blue, it's been as red as it gets, like for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Texas.
yeah, 50
Fairly red.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I guess much of what we expect from, you know, how American history is taught in schools, you know, how the justice system treats minorities, all of that stuff has kind of been baked into their culture over generations upon generations. It's not like fucking Mississippi, but it's still quite bad. In the last couple of weeks, two big things have happened. There have been changes or proposed changes and changes in some cases to the gun laws and the abortion laws. Now, in short, the gun laws, which we're not necessarily going to be focusing right now on, but gives us wider context as to what's going on, is such now that the background checks and the legal requirements that are typically associated with you owning a gun are pretty much going to be taken away. So if you want to, you know, take down an op and you want to find the easiest, most lenient way of doing so, then Texas, baby, is where you would do it.
It's such a wild place.
But what really, really, really shook the world in the last couple of weeks was the rules changing around abortion. Now, a law banning abortion from as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy has come into effect in the state of Texas. This bans abortions after the detection of what anti-abortion campaigners call a fetal heartbeat, which is pretty contentious anyway for medical reasons, which we can get onto. This law, which is one of the most restrictive in the country, took effect after the Supreme Court did not respond to an emergency appeal by abortion providers. Now, clearly, this new law, which is called the Heartbeat Act, has...
They're good at naming stuff, the Republicans.
But this heartbeat bill is like a subgenre of bill that's been going on around America. And we'll come back to this.
Yeah. The Heartbeat Act was actually, it came into effect in May. There was obviously contention around it. There was an appeal that went in, which was essentially ignored. And this is ultimately undoing the landmark Roe versus Wade ruling
Finally.
from a while ago, which now means that women, especially in the state of Texas, we will wait to see if this has reverberating effects across other parts of America. But it effectively means that women, if they ever felt they weren't in control of their bodies and therefore their destinies before, are even less so in control of them now. A shocker.
So a couple of things. Firstly, good timing because I just invested in Durex stock, and that's now going through the roof in Texas.
Let's get the jokes out the way first.
Sales are going to go very healthily.
Let's get them out.
Sales are going to go very healthily. I also recently started a
this is not investment advice.
That's not investment advice. No, I also recently started a pull-out coaching course in Dallas.
How's that going for you?
I mean, now business will be booming. Bookings are through the roof. No, more seriously, to go back to the point you were making about Texas being as red as it could. That's a relatively recent phenomenon. And relatively recent, I mean, in the history of politics, the history of America. Lyndon Johnson, he of civil rights fame, the bloke who took over after Kennedy got his head blown off, was the
Shot tops to your head rocks.
Yes, was the Senate Majority Leader from the state of Texas. Texas used to be a solid blue state.
Right.
It was
The Lone Star
a
State.
stronghold of Southern Democratic politics.
That's also when the Democrats were the racist party.
Well, they were the racist party before. They were less racist.
They were in the transitionary
Yeah, we
phase.
can get into it. Anyway, it went really red following the Nixon era and the Southern strategy, which basically played on white nationalism in the South of America. But as we saw with the state of Georgia turning blue, a lot of these Southern states, where there is a lot of immigration, have their demographics changed, are becoming more toss-up regions, which is why people like Greg Abbott, who's the governor of the state of Texas, is doubling down on this shit to stop a tide before it comes, where the Democrats can actually start having input because of the changing demography, i.e. lots and lots of Latinos who don't subscribe to Fox News. Now, the fuckery...
Interestingly, though, the Latinos are more conservative than you
Yeah,
think. So it's
well,
not
I'm
the
not,
Latinos.
I know, you don't need to tell me, puppy.
Yeah, so it's not the Latinos. It's more the emigration from California and New York, all these big city liberals who are moving to towns like Austin and Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and that's leading to what you're talking about in terms of demographics.
It's the second generation Latinos. So the ones that come over are super hawkish on immigration because they had to do the shit to get into Texas. But the ones like Javi Hernandez, who's born in Dallas, he tends to become a Democrat. That's
but we're not talking about immigration. We're talking about abortion.
Sure, but the
They tend to
demographics
be
of Texas
fairly
are changing. So
conservative
it's not just
across all
white
of them.
nationalists being born into Texas these days. The demography is changing beyond internal immigration.
Sure.
That's the point I'm getting.
Yeah, but my point just about the Hispanics is that you'd expect the Hispanics largely to be natural allies of the Democratic Party.
Right.
And the numbers bear out that they're not.
Second generation ones are.
As we came to see during the election.
The Trump election.
Even recently.
Yeah, even
when
during
Biden
the Trump
won.
election.
Yeah,
Of course.
So the ones that move, they're Republicans. Anyway, we've got slightly sidetracked from the topic of the abortion bill. This abortion bill is fucked and heinous for like 50 different reasons. And the way that the Texas Republicans have managed to get this through is super fucked. Basically what the bill says is that, as you said, this heartbeat bill is a genre of bill that's very well crafted. It's a project that has been coming for 50 years since Roe v. Wade, and they finally found a way to do it, which says that basically the state and state officials aren't culpable or aren't able to enforce suing abortion practitioners after 6 weeks, but it opens the door for private citizens to sue these places themselves.
It's wild.
So people have been saying, why didn't the Supreme Court stop this? Well, firstly, because Trump packed the court with 3 ultra-nationalists who are basically super anti-abortion. But the reason they gave, after having not said anything, which is pretty ridiculous, and we can come back onto the uselessness of the Supreme Court later, was that they can't enforce. They can't tell the state of Texas not to do this because technically the state of Texas isn't doing anything, right? The state of Texas has just allowed private citizens who they know they've got an army of fucking weirdos who stand outside abortion clinics will start to sue people who aid and abet abortions. And this doesn't...
And essentially these people, to your point, they also get a $10,000
Right, so this is the
reward
thing.
for doing so. So it's actually breeding this new sort of vigilante style criminal system.
Super fucked. But the thing is, that's even worse, right? It's like, okay, maybe you can contextualize this if you could find the abortion doctor and sue him, or the abortion clinic. No. If you're an Uber driver and you drive someone
you're done.
to an abortion, you're fucked.
done.
You get nicked for that.
Yep.
If you're a mum and your daughter says that she's pregnant and you like say, okay, well, let's get rid of this thing. I'll take you out. Help you. Boom, you're done. Right? It makes no exceptions for cases of rape, no exceptions for cases of incest. And is entirely unconstitutional against the provisions set out in Roe versus Wade. Basically, they've managed to get this around in the technicality, knowing that a cooked Supreme Court wasn't going to stop them. And this is part of a much wider conservative project that's been going on since 1973 to try and reverse this ruling.
The issue, though.
Sorry?
They're going to force the issue. Like, sooner or later, they're going to force it. Like, they're
So
not
this is how
gonna
you do it. This is how you get Roe v. Wade back into the Supreme Court.
No, but like I'm saying, they're not going to be comfortable or satisfied with just how this is played out, because we haven't had a ruling on it from the Supreme Court. So what's going to happen is there'll be another state who will craft another similarly like narrow bill based on the template that's happened now in Texas, so that it basically sits in front of the Supreme Court and they have to rule on it, because it's one state. Because right now, this is a state by state. It's a states' rights issue, right? It's like each state can potentially mandate according to whatever level of conservativeness they have in that state, right? But I think their ultimate aim is to kick this all the way up to the Supreme Court and ultimately have a reversal, right? So they're not going to be happy with each Supreme Court, or with the Supreme Court just abstaining effectively from ruling on any one individual state by state law.
And the fallout has obviously been huge. Biden, the US Department of Justice, has filed a lawsuit.
Thanks for coming.
challenging
That was also a bunch of bullshit.
this law, saying that the act is clearly unconstitutional.
Which means nothing anyway.
For all of
I've also been waiting. Like, this wasn't a surprise. So
for all
like,
of the Mexican wall stuff, the MAGA hat stuff, the sensationalist, crazy stuff, the good guys on both sides chat, inciting racial violence all across the place. You could argue Trump's legacy, and if we're really talking about chess moves, if we're really talking about power plays, those endorsements / appointments that he made into the Supreme Court of Justice.
But obviously,
game changers.
Obviously, this was Mitch McConnell's game plan the entire Trump presidency.
The
It's
only
explicit.
meaningful thing that a president does in terms of legacy is the Supreme Court.
And that's why. And in fact, the irony is that the Attorney General Merrick Garland, who is now pushing through the Biden administration's case against the state of Texas, was the guy Obama couldn't get onto the Supreme Court because the Republicans blocked it. Right, so they sat out Obama's turn, put Neil Gorish on. Ruth Bader Ginsburg refused to retire. We didn't get an extra. Well, the Democrats didn't get an extra seat, and now the court has been stacked.
It's 6-3, right?
6-3 to conservatives. So it's actually so fucked now that John Roberts, he of corporations are actually people fame, is now considered as a fucking liberal on the court. It's like America. If Americans have spent the last 2 weeks talking about, we need to protect the rights of women in Afghanistan, and it's so bad for women's rights that the Taliban is going to stop them going to school, etc., etc., etc. And now they've basically just passed a draconian law that's effectively like the Texan version of Sharia, saying that women actually don't have agency over their bodies. It's ironic. It's ironic, especially in the context when Texans and Texas, above all, have been giving it shtick about their my body, my choice as regards to vaccine uptake, and I don't want to take the vaccine, etc., etc. The government should stay away from my body. The government should stay away from my body as long as it's not a fetus inside my stomach. It's totally bankrupt, and it's got nothing to do with either women's rights, reproductive health, healthcare, or babies. This is totally about enforcing a system of power and playing to a very corrupt Supreme Court that is largely just a political tool. There's nothing. The word constitutional means nothing in America.
They claim that it's about the babies, right? Everything you said about it's not about women's health and rah. It's not about that. The claim is it's protecting life, right? But there are many ironies with such claims, some of which you've mentioned, some of which like supporting the death penalty and things like this, which are also ironic. But more than anything, it's like at 6 weeks, you can't deliver a baby. So
But also, who the fuck knows they're pregnant after 6 weeks? And you only know that if you're actually trying for a kid, and then you're not going to get an abortion anyway. Who the fuck knows they're
Plus,
pregnant
the
after
other
6
thing
weeks?
is this is basically targeting the poor, effectively, people on low socioeconomic grounds, right? So those who have a bit of cash can go out of state, basically, for the abortion. But if you don't have that cash, you can't go out of state, right? And now I think I read something this morning where there was some big time employer.
So
in the
yeah,
States.
that's exactly where I was going to go to next.
exactly.
Salesforce offered to help relocate employees out of Texas, where they have 2,000 of its 56,000 employees, following this rule, saying that obviously these are incredibly personal issues that the law creates, and they didn't make specific mention to this new ruling, but they did communicate to this staff, if you want to move, we will help you exit Texas, your choice.
It's ironic because
Shout out, by the way.
Texas has just had a massive influx of liberals, basically. Right? Half of the Californian elite, a la Joe Rogan, and the rest have kind of made their way into Texas.
They're all in Austin.
Yeah, into Texas over the last 2 years or 18 months during coronavirus, right? Because of the perception of restrictive COVID regulations by Gavin Newsom in California, first to lock down, last to release and all that. And all these people made their way to Texas. And that shift in demographics that you were talking about in terms of voting patterns, these kinds of moves will firstly help with.
Yeah.
But the second thing is, it's ironic that these guys moved somewhere like that for more freedom, and now you have less freedom.
Yeah.
So, move out of Texas, or what is it you said? Join Johnny's pulling out program that you subscribe to.
The stroke
Regardless, it's
stroke
called the
reduction
Lone
training.
Star
Do you
State.
want to drop a link in the comment section
Yeah,
or
I will
something?
do.
Yeah,
I will do.
Cool.
Yeah, I will
The
do.
incels will be on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Well, this is a law crafted by incels, right? This is the law crafted by
They came for us again on the comment section.
Yeah, like, well, now if I actually fucking, God forbid, find a woman to have sex with me, she's now mine for life because she can't get rid of the kid, right?
Yeah.
Just keep producing kids to fucking recruit into the army and uphold imperialism. Fuck this. Fuck Texas. Fuck this law. Fuck all y'all.
So, guys, the government, they're taking our money.
No.
They're taking more of our money.
The Tories taxing the poor. That's mad chat. Surely not.
We have an increase in our national insurance coming
The regressive
on
tax.
the way as a result of the government's proposed new plan to fund social care.
But it's not funding social care.
We can get into it, which means, and I'm not going to go through the maths, you guys know where to look, which means that depending on how much you earn, you could be potentially adding a nice up to 1,200. I want to say 1,100 and something, but let's just say 1,200 for argument's sake, to your annual national insurance contributions.
Thanks for coming.
No such thing as a free lunch, right? We are going through Brexit. We are going through, a year plus of furloughing. Mm-hmm. If you thought that this was just going to be a happy handout, my friend,
It's coming back.
is coming back.
People like Tommy voted for Brexit so that we could have our 350 million a week for the NHS. And then that, like, where's that money gone? Why isn't that funding it? Where's our Brexit dividend? Right? We were meant to be Singapore by the sea. Well, Singapore on Thames, we were told.
They did run that line, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what, and now what taxes are going up. It's also the most pernicious way that they could have done this by raising national insurance, because it's a tax that disproportionately affects not only young, working, but lower income people as well, right? After 50,000, your relative or your marginal increase is reduced in terms of how much national insurance is taken out of your pay packet. So the difference, if you earn 45 grand and you earn 200 grand a year in terms of your national insurance contribution, isn't that massive. So the first thing is that it's ironic because of the whole Brexit shit. It's regressive because it impacts the poor. But the third thing is that it's actually not funding social care.
Tell me more.
The majority of this cash, or a significantly large proportion of it, is just going to plug a cash hole in the NHS. There's no new service provision. There's no extra funding for councils. There's no new program to help the elderly or to help the ill who need more significant care. It's just a lot of this cash is just going to plug a hole in the NHS. Let's be honest. It's largely born from a year's worth of shocking PPE contract tenders. If we hadn't wasted so much money, finding shit like aprons from Turkey that don't work, then maybe the NHS would have a bit more money.
What do you mean plug a hole? Give us some details.
Actually,
When you say plug a
Tommy
hole,
is pro raising taxes on poor people to find a budget gap in the NHS.
I'd love to get a word in. Explain. I want to understand when you say plug a hole. Please give us some color.
Something like 5.9 billion of the 12 that's being raised is literally just going into NHS Central England's funding because they've got a cash shortfall
so it
on the
shouldn't
budget
go to
for the year.
NHS is your argument. I'm just trying to
understand
why is this tax rise not supporting the social security, social care?
It's been told that we're raising £12 billion to raise money for social care, which a lot of people support. I don't think anyone canvasses against that. £12 billion isn't going to social care.
So where's it going?
I've just explained to you.
When you say plug a hole, though, that hole is what? A hole for the social care, or
no?
I don't
In
understand
NHS
what you mean.
general spending, in NHS whatever.
What's your understanding of it, Tommy? Well, go on.
I don't know. I don't
the
like being
floor.
preached to, and I've been preached to a lot today. So that's why I was like, ultimately, I don't disagree with a lot of what he said. It is a regressive tax, all of that shit. But ultimately, this is a problem that needs to be solved. And in the last 12 months, 18 months, I've had an intimate relationship with social care in the UK. So, like, I'm not talking from a theoretical perspective.
Yeah, of course.
Now, what you were talking about, the NHS, everything that I've read is essentially the argument that I've read is that this is basically a boom for private companies, right? The money's not really going to the NHS because a lot of social care is in the hands of private corporations, and this is just a payday for these private corporations, right? So that's why I was asking for an explanation of what you were talking about when you were saying plug a hole, because I was unfamiliar. I wasn't trying to challenge you. I just didn't know what you were talking about. So that's why I was asking for some color, right? Ultimately, obviously, everyone agrees with the fact that we need to do something with social care, right? We have an aging population and it's the direction of this aging is only going in one way, right? So this is a problem that needs to be fixed. Is this the best way to fix the problem? For me, no, right? Because it's not the greatest way of raising the cash. And once you've raised the cash, there's been no guidelines on how that cash is going to be spent, basically, right? So the issue that I have is that the people who do this work, generally speaking, are going to be fairly, I don't know, let's say from my experience over the last 2 years, 30, 40, 50% of them will be on 0-hour contracts. They're going to be jobs that you do for under 2 years because it's a transitionary job, because there is no career path for it. There's lots of like structural issues for people who are in this role, right? There's lots of, and I don't want to get into too many details because I don't know the details, but ultimately these guys aren't classified as NHS workers. So as a result, there's a lot of protections that they don't get. There's a lot of career progression stuff that doesn't exist, right? So what you happen is young people, people in kind of transitory work will kind of find their way into this industry, and within an 18-month, 2-year period, they kind of segue out into whether it's nursing or physiotherapy or whatever, right? So what I would have liked to have seen would have been probably some more boundaries on how this money is spent effectively, as opposed to... I don't disagree. It is a regressive way of raising the money. It's just about putting guidelines in so that these private firms that do the social care essentially don't take this as a dividend tax payment, a dividend payment, effectively.
Yeah.
So that's where my concern is.
So yeah, and you're right. And a lot of the cash is going to go to basically for councils to reimburse the companies that they tender contracts out to. And I don't necessarily. I think again that's just plugging cash in a problem. That's not a structural change, and by no means a Corbynite.
Cash also is needed, right?
The cash is necessary.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that I'm by no means a Corbynite. In the last Labour manifesto, there were calls for a national social care service in the same way that we have a healthcare service, and this tax was marketed as a £12 billion spend. We need to raise money to fund social care spending, and I think everyone agrees with that. Everyone agrees we need to raise money to fund social care spending. The two problems I have is one, that the £12 billion is not going to funding social care. We're not creating a new system of ensuring that elderly and sick and poor people are taken care of. But the money's coming from the wrong place. If we tax the rich in other senses, we could raise even more money. If we changed income tax rather than national insurance tax,
Sure.
we could.
I'm less idealistic about it, right? If we did this, if we did that, fine. we've done it this way. What I'm saying is, with the money that's been raised, we need to have guidelines so that that money itself isn't abused, right? Because the employee, that money ultimately needs to trickle down
Sure.
to the person who's doing the care,
Sure.
basically.
So this is-
and that's what I'd like to see the government have thought this through a little bit more to ensure that trickle down happens. Because right now, like from what I've seen or read or whatever, it seems to me that that trickle down effect is unlikely to happen. And these guys will carry on being on 0-hour contracts, carry on not really having much of a career progression. And this whole new tax that we're all funding hasn't made a difference or a material difference to their lives, and therefore the people who are getting care.
Yeah, and totally agree. And the point is that we would have liked to have seen a national social care service come out of this kind of tax. And I think it would have been wildly popular if you explained to people that we need to raise your taxes because we're going to create a new aspect of the healthcare system. People would have paid for it. And just to wrap this up in our bi-weekly Fuck Keir Starmer section, this asshole had the temerity to go into the House of Commons and attack the Tories from the right. He said that the Tories are no longer the lower tax party, and this asshole doesn't understand that actually working people are being shafted here, firstly. But secondly, people would be happy to pay more if the Tories committed to expanding our healthcare system. And I think it's another example of his failure of opposition leadership.
Keir always catches the strays, irrespective of how egregious the changes are from the Tories.
It's his job to challenge them.
Yeah. We keep fucking saying that. But
Can I just make one point?
Every single time, irrespective of what his challenge is, he seemingly catches fucking L's. And I don't think that's always fair.
To Johnny's point, he deserves the strays. But to Johnny's point about
all of them.
All of
I'm
them.
not sure.
Everyone that he's received on this pod, anyway. To Johnny's point, the reason that I get what you're saying, but the reason that I'm not hopeful about it is because we know who Boris is as a politician, right? So the opportunistic or move is the move that he's made, right? Because, like you said, it's popular. It's just you wouldn't necessarily expect him to kick off a massive initiative like that because he may not have the skill set to do it. But if you've done this and you've got this fairly popular policy on the go, then surely it makes sense to make sure that the people you're trying to support, let's say, get that support, whether that's the people who are doing the caring or being cared for, basically.
So I'm sure Johnny is probably aware of what the Anne Widdecombe take on this is, given he subscribes to her on OnlyFans.
Intimately.
But I think that your monthly OnlyFans invoice is about to double, given that your boy, man like Goblin Dominic,
Yes.
is about to apparently sign up himself.
Big Dick Dom.
Man like Dominic Cummings is looking into starting an OnlyFans account after the end of his political career in Number 10.
Can't wait.
Which is actually quite crazy. Good luck to him. Good luck to everybody. I'm just going to say shout out Keir Starmer because I just want it to feel like this is at least somebody
Fuck
supporting
him, man.
you in some of your travails.
Hopeless Labour Party.
He could have like literally Boris
cleaned up.
There was a lot of
Should have
let's say,
cleaned up on
optimism around Boris when he came in,
Bruv.
right? But what Boris has shown is if he had a politically astute opposition, he would be underwater.
He'd be
like
fucked.
he's not as like
guys are
happy-go-lucky
sleeping on-
popular as we originally thought.
You man are sleeping on Teflon Boris, man.
Yeah, sure, Teflon, but like he's been up against no one. There's no need for him to be Teflon. The only thing he's been Teflon against is his own faux pas.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone's
He's-
putting him
he's
under
his
any
own
pressure.
opposition.
Yeah, he's
Rishi's
his
a
own
bigger opposition than
Exactly.
Keir Starmer.
Watch this space. They're saying that council tax is the next thing that's going to get hit, ladies and gentlemen. So save your dollar.
I can't wait to give Haringey more money.
Yeah. Tower Hamlets has already been eaten off, man, for a while. And they
dead off boroughs.
they've been justifying council tax hikes in, well, to be honest, they haven't really. They've just been sending me the end result. But yeah, be interesting to see how this affects my monthly outflow. But watch this space and save your dollar.
Gosh.
Join a union.
Next, Channel 4. If anybody was watching Channel 4 last week, Friday, you would have noticed that the whole scheduling, programming, what have you, was dominated by people who look like me, baby.
Black Friday, baby.
Black to Front was an initiative that, to be honest, I didn't actually see coming. I didn't know that this was in the works. I found out probably a couple of days before. And it's similar to, like, if you've watched that episode of Atlanta, where he basically does the Black Entertainment Network, where it's just like a whole day of just like programming around black people, black issues, black talent, so on and so forth. Channel 4 took it one step further. They did a few things. They revisited and relaunched old classic television programs such as Big Breakfast.
Sorry, say that again. They rebooted that.
They rebooted Big Breakfast with Mo Gilligan and AJ Adodu. They launched, or they had a special episode of Countdown, which was hosted by Sir Trevor McDonald.
Boss.
How did I miss all of this?
And they had new programs. So there's this new reality program. I think it's a 4-part called High Life, which I think is basically going to be like London's take on like love and hip hop New York, or the Real Housewives type vibe as well. And then they had celebrities from all. They also did Gogglebox. Yeah, so they did things like Celebrity Gogglebox as well. And on the roster throughout the day, so to speak, was people like Mo Gilligan, Maya Jama, Munya Chihuahua. As I said, Sir Trevor McDonald. You had the Black Queens, Zizi Mills, and Yinka Bokini.
Just take a moment to yourself there.
Need a moment. And essentially, in between the programming was like black adverts. It was promoting black businesses all throughout the day. Now, for me, watching all of this stuff, obviously, you guys know what I do in my professional capacities as well as outside with regards to the black community and so on and so forth. For me, this was, in so many ways, very, very inspirational. And it was just hearty. It felt good, felt great to see. But clearly, there are a lot of people who did not like what they considered to be performative tokenism. We had some pretty outspoken people, but people like comedian London Hughes posted when she found out about this earlier on in the year, don't just give us black to front days just so you can feel better about not including people of colour in your TV output for the rest of the year. It's insulting. And now the talented black people who will be chosen for this Black to Front Day will know that it's not to do with their talent, but with a quota or a tick box. If you want to shine a light on black talent, how about just normally booking and hiring more black talent? I am, as a black man, I'm a little bit torn on this. I'm not going to lie. I have pretty strong views that are in line with some of what London Hughes said. I do think that the attack was probably at the wrong body. And when I say body, I mean Channel 4. Because I think in terms of, and you guys can challenge it if you want, I think in terms of progression on TV, I think Channel 4 has probably led that line across
From day.
So I think it was a little bit funny that she decided to challenge them. I think the fact that it is people who are all independent superstars in their own right who are being chosen to partner as well kind of lets you know that it isn't necessarily just a box ticking exercise. It is also not just a way to offer handouts. It is in many respects a celebration of great people.
Sorry, so you're saying they wouldn't have accepted if they felt it was tokenism? That's to understand what you just said.
No, what I'm saying is I think that the fact that they picked people who were already in their own right excellent people, for me, says that it isn't necessarily them offering handouts in a way which is unhealthy. It is actually also a celebration of people who have done very, very well. People who don't necessarily need the Channel 4 check. So I was a little bit torn on it. I do believe that, obviously, a great more needs to be done. And Johnny and myself were having a conversation on Friday about how this extends to like the corporate world and how companies do things in a way that isn't sustainable, it is performative. And the fear around unsustainable changes is that ultimately Mr. White Man in the boardroom is going to turn around and say, actually, we've given these motherfuckers 2 years post George Floyd. Let's now talk about disabled people. Let's now talk about LGBTQ plus a little bit more. Like, the issue is that if you don't have change which is sustainable and it is just tokenism across the board, that things don't change. But I wanted to ask you guys what your views are on this, because again, as I said, watching this, it was super, super inspirational because it wasn't just people who we knew. It was new people who were up and coming. Like Zizi Mills, it was her first big
TV
prime
spot,
time TV spot. And anybody who knows Zizi Mills, for example, knows that she's been working hard, independently as well. And she's kept hold of who she is as a person. Her authenticity is just sky high. I feel like we often cheapen some of these amazing moments within our own communities. We cheapen them ourselves instead of being on the side of this is celebration. So yeah, I wanted to see what you guys thought about it because I'm still a bit torn. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to a chat we did have on Friday. One thing I would say is big up Channel 4 because, and not just for this one instance, but from Lenny Henry times and Benjamin Zephaniah times and all kinds of OG names that they were putting on telly back in the 90s, right through to the Big Nasty show these days. There is a track record of supporting black talent, as well as actually giving scope to LGBTQ plus talent, to pushing forward Asians and other ethnic and racial minorities. Channel 4 have got credentials in this space.
Facts.
I think that the brunt of what London Hughes was trying to say, although it seemed to be targeted at Channel 4 just because that's who was topical at the time, was that she finds America a much easier place for people of color to get into mainstream media, and that's been a product of her career. She left, she went to LA, got herself some Netflix shows, and has found that she's been able to get success stateside. What do I think about Black to Front? I didn't watch it. I was busy. I was doing shit. But I'm always happy to hear that these creators are given space and time in the mainstream. But you're right in that it needs to be more sustainable. If Channel 4 just goes back to only having Jimmy Carr doing 8 out of 10 Cats for the rest of its programming, then really have black people won, have black content creators won. We need to see more structural changes. And we've done all these arguments before about why people love black culture but then don't want to pay out, and white people love black culture but they don't want to love black people.
They want all of the rhythm but none of the blues.
Right. And we've done all these arguments before. We've done all these arguments before. But as much as I kind of want to move the conversation away from Channel 4, and it's more about accessibility for minorities and people of colour in many spaces outside of the media. But Tommy's
I can
going to
help
jump
move
in.
it away from Channel 4. I'd like to say, firstly, that you guys are bugging.
All right.
Very good.
If there's one channel that has moved and progressed television, it's Channel 5, baby.
Is it still on?
I don't know, but I
just do
remember when I was
traffic
a youth
cops.
and they started doing softcore porn. Like after the 10 p.m. watershed. I was like, oh, Jesus.
The stuff that's really advancing our people.
Yes.
Channel 5 after 9.
Who was the one black gladiator he was about?
Shadow.
No, but that was...
Wait.
That was...
His name was Shadow. Oh, that's problematic.
But that was ITV anyway.
Why didn't we know
was
that?
it?
Eureka Johnson and that.
Yeah.
Yes.
John Fashanu and that.
John Fashanu.
Come on.
Awuga and that.
I missed all of this, let's be honest. The lady that you're talking about, Hughes, you said, right?
London Hughes, yeah.
Don't know who that is.
Comedian.
Ah, okay.
Inverted commas, just Ben, not funny.
I missed the whole Black to Front thing. I caught wind of it basically on Instagram after it had happened,
Yeah.
I think. So a lot of this is news to me. But
But
ultimately...
what's your view on it? Like, if you heard a day before or a couple of days before that basically all day Channel 4 were going to be doing programs which are essentially run by, from not just, and by the way, I should have said this, not just the people that you see on screen in terms of all the people in the background, writers, creators, producers, directors, heavily populated by a diverse and it's mainly black demographic. Would you like the idea of it going in, or would you be one of cynicism?
I let's put it this way, yeah. I was originally a little bit more cynical when I heard you introing it. Yeah, oh, a day, this, that. But I was like, all right. But now that you mentioned that it was everyone like front of camera, but also everyone behind the scenes and all that, it feels probably then a bit better, a bit more than just tokenism, right? If there are the camera guys, the script writers, the showrunners, the producers, if there was a kind of behind the scenes inclusionary effort, then I think that shows that it's probably more than tokenism. And if you're trying to do something like you man were saying, then you shouldn't, like Channel 4 is, then it's pretty harsh for them to catch heat on it. So if anything, what should happen is the heat should be going to some of the other channels. And I agree with everything that you man said about systemic change and flavor of the month, and next month it might be LGBT, and the month after that it might be another cause. And if there isn't systemic change, then you get a month, you get Black History Month, and you keep it moving, right? So I get all of that systemic chat you man are saying, but regardless, rather than having a conversation about tokenism with Channel 4, maybe we should be having a conversation about why there's not more tokenism on some of the other channels. Do you know what I mean? Because these guys are trying to push the boundaries and still catching heat. So realistically, it should be a conversation why Channel 5 doesn't have more porn or BBC doesn't have more black people. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Like,
yeah. So, so to basically open up to what we was talking about on Friday, the issue is when it is just tokenism. And fundamentally, you would say 95% of all of these
initiatives,
Black Ally initiatives, it's just marketing. It's marketing spend, right? Yeah. How can we not either get sued or not lose subscribers, not lose talent to other companies because we're not seen to be hiring enough black people? And I'm still very much a cynic in the corporate world about a lot of this inclusivity and hiring, et cetera, et cetera. Something that we discussed is basically like, we're now talking about black people. We're now talking about black people, and we're talking about black people because George Floyd was pictured on camera being killed, and then the world blew up after that. 2-3 years ago, we were talking about women, and we've been talking about women for 10 years. Suddenly, we're not talking about hiring women anymore. Mm-hmm. We've actually just focused on black people. And the point that I made was that if nobody had recorded George Floyd being killed by a cop, then actually we'd still be talking about hiring women. No one would be talking about hiring black people. No one would be talking about hiring black people. And so as long as these companies are reactionary in their hiring processes, and as long as this remains something that changes and flies with the whims of whichever the media wind is at that moment in time, then this will be tokenism. And until we get more structural changes in terms of the way that people are hired and minorities are treated in the workplace, and people from different backgrounds are hired, then I still will remain a skeptic and a cynic. And I can't say I've seen a lot in corporate practice that would change my mind on that.
100%.
I think it's unrealistic to think that it's not going to be reactionary. Everything that businesses do, largely speaking, that's outside of the profit motive is reactionary, right?
So this is part of the profit motive.
And that's a huge problem.
So, no, sure, it's a problem. But like when you're talking about like fiduciary duties to shareholders, basically, then if any kind of changes in hiring practices, in company culture, in marketing campaigns, in everything, will be reactionary, because your main aim is sell more of this product or whatever makes you money, right? So it's unfair for us to be like, oh, they should be leading the charge. No, businesses are never going to be at the forefront of social change. So what happens is you and I, the everyday person, is going to be at the forefront, being screaming about a particular topic, which would have been like a niche topic that everyone thinks you're a fringe guy to talk about. And over time, it will enter the Overton window, which we were talking about a couple of pods ago or whatever, right? So if that's the case, then once a groundswell of individuals like us, whatever, has brought a topic slightly more towards mainstream conversation, is when you find your initial really kind of caring organizations who may start adopting it. And it's going to be a long time before you get to your FTSE 100 and whatever large blue chip companies to adopt it.
Well, the point that I want to make is that a lot of companies, and this is something, again, we've spoken about, two of us, Rich and I specifically, and you in a previous life, have all been involved in hiring processes at the firms that we talk about. Now, is it beneficial for people of color or ethnic minorities? Is it beneficial for them to just be hired because a firm needs to tick a diversity box? If there is a competent white candidate versus someone who's less technically capable from an ethnic minority, does it help attitudes towards people of color that a less qualified person of color is hired over a white person?
Absolutely does not.
Long term, it doesn't, no.
Absolutely does not. And obviously
that actually goes against the fiduciary duty of the company in the way that you were saying, because we're going to hire a worse person just because they come from a different background. And that is a very common practice. I've witnessed it.
And it's tricky to have this conversation because, as we said on Friday as well, we don't want to cheapen or trivialize this conversation by even saying that there are people who are deserving of these positions. If you work at a company, for example, where the training or the investment in you to get you up to a level that you may not be in day one, if the training is there and it exists, then you can take a few more risks in hiring people who day one don't necessarily have all you need. But to Johnny's point, if it's a company where essentially you are hired, you're given a desk, you're given a badge, and you're told to make shit happen, and you are at a massive, 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 massive disadvantage in terms of your knowledge levels, and everyone around you who you're working with are aware of it, if you become the diversity hire, then that has much longer lasting, almost irreparable effects on the relationship between black people and what would be potentially allies.
And it is a difficult conversation because, as we were saying on Friday again, our friend at a firm who is basically the only black guy on the selection process for hiring people of minority backgrounds basically made the point that a lot of this process was bullshit, and you're asking us to hire either women and or people of color just to fill a quota. And because he was the only black guy who told a boardroom full of white people that was the view, firstly, they removed him from the hiring criteria and selection process. But it also basically just gives license for those white people to say, look, the black guy doesn't even give a shit about hiring people of color. Why are we wasting our time?
Yeah.
And so it's tough, even if you are on the inside, it's tough to make the claim that just hiring people of color because they're not white isn't productive.
I guess what I was asking is, have we seen an uptick
Yes.
of
Yes.
really obviously not the better candidate being hired?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Because I haven't, I spent a long
I've heard on
time
2
doing a
different
lot
trading
of
calls.
recruitment,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't see that. And I did recruitment a couple of different companies.
Yeah.
And I didn't see, I didn't see that. I saw the opposite of what you're talking about in terms of the exclusionary chat, where it's it's difficult to say why I can't put this guy through, so I'll use the fit chat. But I haven't really seen people just getting hired, getting jobs when they're underqualified.
Yeah. So what I'll say is I've heard it in a couple different places. We'll hire her because she's good for the diversity quota. We'll hire him because, he ticks a box, etc. I've explicitly heard it.
And even when you don't explicitly hear it,
You understand, as long as you understand
know
it.
what exactly. You know
if
what
you
a really, really
understand
good rep looks like day one versus the next one.
The points that I make are that it's not good for
I disagree with that, by the
communities
way,
of
but I'll
colour.
let Johnny finish.
people of color, because that is what drives resentment. That gives oxygen to arguments that actually the hardest thing in modern society is being a white man because you can't find a job because they're giving the picks away, and that doesn't help race relations or inter-community relations. What we need to be addressing is, one, why are people of color coming potentially less skilled than white counterparts? That would be the first good thing to equalize. But also
You mean once they've got
ensuring
the job or pre-job?
as they apply,
As they enter.
Yeah,
Okay.
so pre-job by definition. But how do we ensure that we have a more sustainable hiring process so that if the winds of media change and that actually the next thing isn't that we care about black people because everyone's forgotten about George Floyd, that we don't just leave black people behind and we focus on a different demographic?
The one point I was going to make about your earlier point about the women and the women being forgotten now because flavor of the month is black, and then the next flavor of the month could be something else.
Yeah.
The women, I think there's an advantage to focusing on things for a period of time, right? So there was a focus on gender for a period of time, and then you had basically laws being passed where companies have to reveal their hiring gender pay gaps, and okay, this is not a silver bullet, it doesn't fix everything, but that's the kind of practice that forces, even if it is a box ticking exercise, that forces more women into the kind of workplaces that they're more interested in doing. So if there was then a focus, let's say, on diversity for the next 2 years or 18 months or whatever, and some small legal or whatever changes were to come about from that before we moved on to whatever the next flavor of the month is, then it's not all wasted.
We'll do the Rooney Rule next time.
I'm glad that we're actually going to be able to have somewhat of a new music section this week. Because apparently somebody, when he's not city boy / podcast host, also fancies himself as a bit of a fucking music reviewer.
That's right.
And he also thinks that people give a shit about his music opinions. He even gives us like a number out of 10, like he's fucking Pitchfork or something.
They do. They care.
Like,
people care.
Rotten tomato.
Yeah, it's cool.
Can you allow people to have more than 24 hours before you start dissecting 2 albums of the year? Well, 1 album of the year.
It's called being influential.
Like,
Can't
you gave
relate.
Donda a 3 out of 3 out of 10.
Yeah, and that's generous.
That's some bullshit. And what did you give Certified Lover Boy?
6.
Certified Lover Boy was better than Donda. This is how I know you're bugging, Johnny.
What, you think Donda's better than Certified Lover Boy?
Of course it is.
Oh my goodness.
Of course it is. Is this a religious thing?
That's what it is.
Is it because my God is not your God, Johnny?
Well, it's because they had the temerity to release it so close to Rosh Hashanah. I thought that was a
He
great.
released it on a Sunday because that's what men of God do, okay? And the music was beautiful.
He's meant to be resting on a Sunday. That's actually not what men of God do.
Yeah, but people who, yes, most Christians do that.
That said,
but
it's a gospel album, so Sunday.
some would say that your giving and your providing to the world doesn't stop on a Sunday. Kanye's a man of God. What can I say?
Yeah, he's also a man of shit albums, as the last couple have proved.
This is wild. This is fucking wild. Donda and Certified Lover Boy came out within a week of each other.
Mr.
And
Loverman.
Shaba. And I personally think that Donda was one of the albums of the year. We're going to go back on that at the end of the year and probably all agree. Certified Lover Boy was typical Drake. Not very good, but not very bad. Largely inoffensive, but just,
6 out of 10.
more songs for the playlist. Johnny, however, for some reason, decided to give us a review within 24 hours of Donda being out to shit on it. You've got to stop doing that, by the way, because you've got to let albums breathe a bit.
It's not a fucking Malbec.
No. You have to let...
Very good.
It's not a Malbec, but you do. It is music. It is something
Decanter
that you.
and that.
Yeah,
exactly.
this
It
is
is
mad
something that
chat.
you need to allow time to grow.
But when you get the
question,
when you get
have you actually listened to Donda more than once?
no, because I'm not
Then
going
this
to.
is what I'm saying, John, bro. What are you?
But it's like saying when you get the Yeezys out of the box, you've got to let the laces breathe
No,
too.
but you have to
Otherwise,
wear-
you can't appreciate the
But
crep.
since we're talking about shoes, you do have to wear shoes a few times until the shoes feel nice on your feet. You have to wear them things in.
We're not talking about fit. We're talking about look.
What?
Shoes aren't going to look any better or
Bro,
worse.
you just
because
hate
on your
Kanye.
feet.
You should just say that.
I don't hate Kanye.
No, you do.
I just
You-
think
no,
he's.
no, you
it's
do.
just that the guy needs a lot of help and he's robbed as an artist.
How can you listen to songs like Jail and songs like No Child Left Behind and songs like Jesus Lord and songs like Hurricane and songs... I hate Junior. I really hated Junior. Junior was fucking awful.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few.
But how can you listen to these songs and not understand greatness?
I think there were two good ones, two decent ones. I can't even remember their names. That's how unimpactful they were.
Did you hear the Lost track, Life of the Party, Kanye featuring Andre 3000?
I think I did. That was on the Spotify, right?
No, it wasn't.
Was it not?
didn't- No. He basically released Donda, and then Drake actually got hold of this unreleased track featuring the greatest MC of all time, Andre 3000, called Life of the Party, where they're both talking about their deceased mothers. Drake thought that he was being slick, right? Because they've got their little beef going on. He thought he was being slick
This is not
by
beef.
using his radio station slot to reveal this song to the world. I don't know why he decided to do it, but all it did was highlight just how amazing Kanye is, and even more specifically, how amazing Andre 3000 is. If you haven't listened to Life of the Party, go and listen to it. It is honestly beautiful. And Andre 3000, oh my God, I fucking stan.
He's the guy.
All the ways in which I stan, I just didn't think, every single time I hear him, I'm like, I love you even more. Didn't think it was possible. What did you think of Donda and Certified Lover Boy?
I don't want to bullshit you. I haven't heard either of them.
This is why we don't do new music sessions.
I haven't got the kind of time to listen to
Just save your time.
I haven't got the kind of time to listen to a 3-hour album anymore.
To be fair,
those times are behind
to be
me.
fair, in total, listening to both back to back, you're losing about three to nearly 4 hours.
Donda's 2.5 hours. on its own,
No.
right?
It was an hour 47.
All right,
It's as long as one of our episodes, basically.
2
Yeah,
hours.
and look, we can't cuss the people for not wanting to listen to long podcasts if we're not going to listen to long
Yeah,
albums.
but the thing is, we're actually all right.
It's also a different kind of content,
shit.
though.
Don't do that.
It's a different kind of content. Anyway, I don't really listen to too much new music, so
We're going to need to work on this.
so the same for me.
I
So
listen to
I'm
that,
still listening to the Drake to the Dave album. Basically, I've got that's on its
Fair.
like 15th playthrough. So
Fair.
like, I'm on that.
See, there's an album you can go back to.
I have
Which you said
gone
that you wouldn't.
Back to
You said
Dave.
you said that you didn't think that was an album that you would go back to.
No.
No,
That
I
was
think he
what I
said
said.
that was the first album that you would go back to.
This is the first album that I would go back to because the other ones before I didn't return to. Having said that, again, going back to
That being said,
albums-
Psychodrama was sick.
Yeah, but going back to like albums that need to breathe, sometimes it can go either way. For me, Donda, when I first listened to it, I was like, was expecting more. But the more and more I listened to it, I was like, rah, this is excellent. Dave, I listened to his new one, We're All Alone in This Together, and immediately I was like, wow. And then I've kind of slipped back into my typical Dave thing, which is like I'm not returning to all but one or two songs from that album.
What can I ask? Which one or two songs?
The one with I like the one with Wizkid. I like the one with that man, the other lad from Nigeria. I think his name is Boj.
That's the best tune on the album, Lazarus.
Yeah, bad.
That Lazarus tune's
And
big.
obviously I go back to Clash. Clash is like my pick me up when I'm like going somewhere and I need to be amped. I play that.
That's a single track, isn't it?
Verdansk. I love
Yeah, it's
Verdansk.
fine,
So that's like 4 or 5. But again, I'm probably not listening to it in its entirety. We've kind of lost that in music right now. There's not many albums that you could just like listen to because for obvious reasons we've just stated. If an album is like an hour and 45, it's kind of hard to repeat it too often. But yeah, I thought they were both good, man. I'm not interested in their beef. I think it's corny as hell, and
It's not even beef, is
They're
it,
both they don't like each other anymore. You know, Kanye went from being Drake's idol to being Drake's op, and I'm sure that there are some reasons, secret reasons we'll never know about behind it. I think Kanye, when he was going through his madness, saw Drake as a threat, which most
Isn't it to
people
do with Kanye sent him a sample, told him to work on this sample, that they've released a track together, and then Kanye just released the track of that sample anyway?
Nah, it's deeper.
I heard there's some talk about Kim
lift
Kardashian
yourself.
getting
apparent-
involved in their beef as
There's
well.
all this talk about Drake apparently sleeping with Kim and all this other stuff. Again,
But did you not see that picture of when she put a post on Instagram that she was listening to Donda and the volume was all the way down,
it
and
was
then
on
she was
mute.
bumping Certified Lover Boy.
So the first picture listening to Donda on mute was real. The second one, listening to Certified Lover Boy on full, was not real.
Oh, is it?
As much as I wanted it
Was
to
that
be
fake
real,
news?
it was fake.
Oh wow! I didn't know. I got
was
taken
fake.
by that.
Hook, line,
It
and
was
sinker.
fake.
I
It
got
was
taken,
fake.
I
It
got
was
taken.
fake.
But she was still listening to Donda on mute, and that's basically the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
The thing about that is that is the biggest part because no. Listen. Because Kanye West wants his music to be appreciated a particular kind of way more than any other artist probably that I've come across. So it's all orchestras and gospel. It's supposed to be on huge ass speakers at max volume where you can really appreciate the artistry in making music. Yeah, right. And his wife has got it on mute.
Soon to be
That
X.
is what's bad,
Yeah,
right?
that is just-
Because and that's what I was gonna ask you about, like the various times you've listened to Donda, if you've listened to it in like essentially kind of different ways, different kind of settings. Like you can listen to it in the car, for example, and have one kind of experience with it, but then you can also listen to it with these big speakers at home and have a completely different kind of experience. So how has that been for you?
I'm like one of the biggest Kanye West fans there are. And I don't mean, I'm not a stan, I'm just one of the biggest fans in the world. I've followed his career properly. So I completely agree with you. He wants people to listen to his music in a certain way. I've listened to his album through very good speakers. I've listened to his album in ear. Walking, I've listened to his album in ear when I was going to Poland earlier this week on a very, very early flight. And it was just like dark and I was on the motorway or whatever. His music is definitely situational for sure. It's become progressively more and more you need to be in a particular zone to really, really appreciate it. But I just think objectively, with all that aside, Donda's just full of amazing music. It's just full of amazing music. He's now more alternative than he probably ever was. But the reality is that he's still making unbelievable music. He's not making songs like All Falls Down, Jesus Walks, Touch the Sky, all these like objectively smashing hit songs anymore. But he still is making
why? Why do you
brilliant
think?
music all the time because he doesn't.
It's more conventional. He's less conventional
People
now.
need to remember, like, artists make the rules. And what I mean by that is, like, after a while, when you get to his level of wealth, all you become obsessed with is really just pushing the envelope. Like, really, really, really. If you get people to accept it as a chart hit, a number one, amazing. Cherry on top. But ultimately, people just want to be able to look back on their piece of art and say, I made this excellent piece that nobody else can make. I think it's beautiful. Do what you want with it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's what Kanye's been on for a while. He's not always got it right. Don't get me wrong. Some albums have been weaker than others. But to a point that I always say, especially to my bros who run a hip-hop podcast, if you look at all of Kanye West's albums from Yeezus onwards, but it's not Kanye, you'd say that artist is literally like unbelievable.
Genius.
But because Kanye West made the 5 albums before, it's like, okay, he's falling off.
Because what you're saying, because he's raised the bar so high.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
If Kanye's name wasn't on Donda, no one would give a shit.
Not
No
true.
one would listen to this and be
Not
like,
true.
this guy's
Not
this
true.
guy's sick.
Not true.
Kanye is basically wears weird clothes, cries in public, and tweets out weird shit.
This is
He's
what I'm saying.
basically every divorced dad.
He should just say that he
in
doesn't
the
like
world.
Kanye West, and then the conversation would be better.
I love what
nothing
Kanye
you
West
just
used to
said is
make.
about his music.
I love what Kanye West used to
Yeah,
make.
but nothing you just said is about his music.
Yeah, because he's trying to be more than a musician, so you have to take
He
it
is
at
more
face
than a
value.
musician.
Yeah,
He
and
is
it's
more than a
all shit.
musician.
The shoes are shit. The music's shit. It's just, I'm fucking bored.
I'm going to get Johnny in Yeezys. That's my challenge.
Never.
I swear down. I'm
Never.
going to find you a pair of Yeezys that you
Never.
like.
Even
And then you're going to wear them.
Even my mum says they're ridiculous.
Well, I can't say anything to that, can I?
No, you can't.
I mean,
Shout out Mumsy,
you know
though.
what I mean? Shout out Auntie. I can't say anything to that.
Hello, mummy.
But yeah, Certified Lover Boy, yeah. Moving on.
6 out
Listen
of
to Baby Keem, the Melodic Blue. If you don't know who Baby Keem is, he's a West Side rapper. He's about 20 years old. He is the cousin of Kendrick Lamar, his new album, The Melodic Blue, is out and it is fire. Family Ties is the lead single off of it. One of the best videos that's come out this year. He is wavy. They are wavy. It's wavy.
Very good.
Before we move on to relationship advice, we need to do a short rest in power to the actor behind one of the greatest, if not the greatest roles on television in our generation,
Facts.
Omar from The Wire. Michael K. Williams unfortunately passed away at 52 years old this week. Reasons are still being ironed out. We don't really have the full report. Fuck whatever happened with 50 Cent. He's tasteless. He always has been tasteless. Just wanted to say a rest in power to Michael K. Williams because you are a fucking icon.
Omar's coming. Omar's coming.
For real, for
What
real.
happened with 50 Cent?
Don't want to get into it, but they go back. They're enemies essentially.
Okay.
And he used Michael K. Williams' death to, as I just learned, to post something that promotes power and
As in Power, the
essentially
TV show.
essentially insinuates that the reason why Michael K. Williams is no longer with us is due to drug abuse, which is just horrible.
But you gotta love 50 Cent because once you're an op for life. That's what
He's
you gotta
consistent.
love that.
He's consistent at least.
Yeah.
We'll give Johnny 30 seconds to actually no. What we're gonna do is we are going to congratulate Johnny on having for once a really, really good take around COVID. The news as of this morning was that COVID passports in the UK are apparently not going to be a thing.
That's right.
So for all of a day, your take has been accurate, so we congratulate you for that.
I ain't congratulating
we
shit.
do want to remind you that your take on that was awful throughout. So here you go.
I'm right.
Here you
Still
go.
awful.
No, here you go.
Eventually right.
No, here you go. Here you
That's
go.
a single click. I'm not clicking.
Yep, here you go,
What are you
Johnny.
clicking?
Because he needs this. Yeah, you know, he needs
What,
this.
for his
Let him
ego?
have it. Yeah,
For
let
the
him have it.
ego.
Let him have it.
Well,
Let him have
after
it.
Jake and Libby, I'm 2 for 2, baby.
Oh, Shelly.
And
Listen,
apparently they're getting rid of PCR tests to return for double vax people, so they're probably going to get rid of the amber list as well.
Yeah, amber and green should become
So
one thing,
the coercion tactics are still somewhat there, irrespective of what Johnny says.
Sure.
It's just that the COVID passports, for now, going into winter, are apparently not going to be a thing. So all you people who didn't get your vaccine because of this, what can I say, man? Well done to you. I guess you predicted it right. Motherfuckers like me who felt like they needed to do this because this was coming, maybe got it wrong, but we move.
I'm happy I took my vaccine, but Joe Biden just mandated 800,000 federal employees to get the jab, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't think this kind of stuff is still going to come in our direction just because man like Saj said something today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
No,
cool.
you're right.
I ain't clicking nothing.
Yeah, let's
I want to
give-
wait at least another month or two.
Tommy, I'm
before-
doing this now so that
Yeah.
he knows that this is a humble
Okay,
podcast.
okay,
So when
okay.
shit goes
Actually,
south,
I like that. Let me click.
I would expect
Yes.
the same back from you, Johnny.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
So we go harder at him when
Yeah.
he invariably gets this wrong.
We'll see.
Yeah. That leaves us with,
My favorite bit of the podcast.
I feel you.
Facts.
We have a contribution this week via the IG.
Very good.
And
Is it a male or female submission this week?
a female,
Oh, okay.
big fan of the podcast. She been riding from early.
Shout out you, whoever you are.
And here we are. So I went on probably one of the best first dates I've ever been on in February this year.
Oh, very good.
We had a great connection and spent hours chatting and getting to know each other.
Okay.
I saw him quickly for a second date and we started spending a lot of time together. I felt like I could really like him. This was the first time properly dating since breaking up with my ex. We were together 4 years and he was abusive. So it took me a while to acknowledge that, find myself and feel happy again post-breakup.
Good
But
for
I
you.
got help and I'm thriving.
Good for you.
I told this guy about my past, and if anything was to move forward, I would need to take it slow because I wasn't ready to fully commit. I was honest that right now I couldn't give him any kind of exclusivity. He was really understanding and said, "This is your journey, and I would never try to push you through it."
Oh, all right. Okay. Very good.
Fast forward a couple of weeks, and he started applying pressure about moving forward. He told me he loved me, and we started having deep emotional conversations. And
After
I
a couple of
felt
weeks.
I was repeating myself in saying I needed time, and it started to make me feel guilty. I felt like he sometimes would send me messages to get a reaction or be a bit petty. I got the ick.
Oh.
Felt like he wasn't respecting what I had said, so I cut it off. From then, I did up Hot Girl Summer and had the best time.
Very good.
I can confirm. Yes.
They did?
Yes.
Hot Girl Summer was
It
in operation,
You know, fully.
Very good.
Fully.
Very good.
I recently met a guy who's into a lot of the same things as me, and I think I have the chance to live out some of my fantasies, and I want to explore that.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Recently, the guy reached out. the previous guy.
Oh.
And we started speaking again, and we have seen each other a couple of times. Should I give it a chance with this guy?
My G resurrected it. Yeah?
Am I just being scared, so I am avoiding something good?
Back again.
Or would I have already gone with it if I really thought he could be the one?
Ooh.
Firstly, thank you very much for that submission, because this is great.
100%.
Yes.
There's a lot of like a lot
Levels to this.
to dissect.
Yes.
to unpack.
Yes.
What do you want to go with first?
So let's start from the top, right? So went on a date. Date went fantastically well. Met again. Explained your position.
Yeah.
I don't really want anything serious right now. I've just come out of this thing. Super understanding. Then a couple of weeks later, said I love you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Chase.
Mad chat.
Innit?
That's mad chat.
I think there's an H line or something, or this RD thing where like, look at your man, he's not serious. Like, have you seen that too?
I think since the beginning of time, red flags always circulate when somebody drops the L word that early.
That's very mad
100%.
chat. So the first thing we should say is we addressed the topic of going back to your ex a few episodes ago.
So technically this isn't an ex, right? So
Yeah,
she
exactly.
broke up with an ex and got back into the dating scene.
Right.
And she told this person, I need to take it slow.
But they were doing things for a while.
Two
and now
dates.
he's back.
I wouldn't say they were like going out.
They're
They were
doing things.
dating. Yeah,
They're doing things.
Yeah, doing
Couple
things
days.
and dating.
Enjoying
So,
themselves.
so the pod's position has already been established on revisiting.
Johnny's position.
What was it not yours as well?
It's the pod's position.
pod's
to be
position
fair.
on revisiting
Specifically,
things. Yeah.
Johnny and I shared that position. To
Yeah.
be fair, we might not want to tar you with our brush.
Yes.
but
Basically, I think we agreed. The council agreed that it was kosher to microwave your meals from the fridge.
oh, Charlie, that was not what I agreed.
Well, it's
I
okay.
thought we
it's
said that
it's okay to
people
go
don't
back.
fundamentally change and you shouldn't go back.
That's
No.
why I said it's Johnny's
Oh,
view.
no,
Okay, then it's
said-
Johnny's view. Sorry,
okay.
Richard and I had the same view.
Yeah.
Right, my view is that it's fine to go back.
Yeah.
Okay, you like the waves that come from the
Yes.
micro.
Yes. It's warm on the inside.
So let's approach.
Only warm on the outside.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
actually cold on the
Yeah, I
inside.
know. That's the joke.
You guys still talking about microwaves, yeah? Cool. So she has a situation in which this person who she liked
Right.
and was enjoying herself
Is now
with
back.
is putting the pressure on her to move at a pace
That
which she's not comfortable with.
Yeah.
fair.
Should she take a risk in saying, look, actually, maybe I'm just being a bit long. Maybe I'm being a little bit too protective of myself here. Or is she going about it the right way? Let's start with that.
Oh, I must have misheard. I thought that she'd already cut this guy off and then he was back again after
Yeah,
Hot Girl
that's
Summer.
what happened.
Yeah, but now she's considering it again because
Okay.
she feels like maybe she pushed him away.
Right. Okay. So then my position is obviously that it's fine to engage in this. Otherwise, you two are going to be like, no, don't go back to your ex. It didn't work last time. People haven't changed. So I guess it comes back to this argument that we've had previously.
I think it doesn't though.
Okay. Has he understood properly that you weren't in a position last time? Did he understand why you felt uncomfortable at the time? And if your position hasn't changed on that front, is he more likely to be receptive this time to those circumstances? If you either are more able to commit or he has changed, then it's worth giving it a go. You really like the guy, why not? And you've had your fun, so it's cuffing season, baby.
And we're slowly leaving the summer. And
Yes,
Yeah,
days are
entering
getting
the autumn.
shorter.
Entering the autumn. I'd say that Abiadi and my hypothesis about not going backwards doesn't work or doesn't count here because you're not in a relationship.
Agreed.
Right? So like the submitter, the girl, she doesn't know her partner well enough to know whether someone can change and all that kind of stuff. You're just dating a couple of times. Okay, you did things like you said, but it's not that deep. So I would say that our hypothesis on this does not hold in this case, in the sense that there's, it's still they're still in the discovery phase. So I think what's important is Johnny's point as to I'd like to know how he's reemerged. Right. So you've had Hot Girl Summer. Let's say, for argument's sake, how long does the Hot Girl Summer last? Is it a couple of months? Are we talking about summer?
Hot Girl Summer is a lifestyle, Tommy.
Sure, but I'm talking about time frame. That Hot Girl Summer we're talking about, if you've had 3 months of doing your thing and then he's popped up, or if you had like a week and he's come back on the scene.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
it sounds from the evidence available that she's had a very fulfilled summer.
So if he's-
let's call it a couple months.
It's
So let's
okay,
just assume she
it's a
said we
couple of
did a
months.
Hot Girl Summer and had a great time. So
Cool.
she recently met with a guy.
So let's call it a
Let's
couple
call it
of
a
months.
couple of months.
Okay, if we're calling it a couple of months, there's 2 or 3 interesting things about that.
Okay.
Firstly, in the time period where you're doing the hot girl summer, you obviously haven't come across any G's who are maybe more interesting than this guy. Because if you had, you wouldn't have given him the time of day when he's come back. Firstly,
so
right?
for all she said about this new guy has given her the chance to live out some of the fantasies and she wants to explore that, maybe he isn't actually as interesting as man number one.
Mainly because of the way she described that first date. She was like, it was the best first date I've had, and it was this, it was that. So there's obviously some form of a connection.
Yeah.
And our chat about not going backwards doesn't hold because they weren't in a relationship.
Facts.
So I think it's fair. It's only fair to yourself as her in this case. It's only fair to her to explore, have a chat. Like, I mean, like if you very quickly find that he hasn't he has his viewpoints or the way he's moving hasn't changed, then you bin him off again, right? But if your gut is telling you one thing, just follow your gut, is what I'm saying. So if your gut is going one way or the other, just follow that.
Listener, submitter.
Follow your gut. Shit advice.
It's not. I've given my advice, right?
My advice.
But I said what supersede my advice is my gut.
We're gonna flip the patriarchy on its head, baby.
Oh, okay.
My advice, submitter. Fuck them both until you've made your mind up.
That's right.
They've both been fucked.
Well, has she fucked second guy yet?
Juggle. I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying
while
juggle.
you are figuring it out, enjoy yourself.
The autumn of enjoyment.
Enjoy yourself.
They say that
because as the old adage goes, if this was men doing that and they were dating X amount of girls at the same time, no one would say shit. You do you.
they say that October and November are good months for exploration.
I've never heard of those.
Have you not?
Cocktober and November.
That's right.
Shit.
It's autumn season, baby.
Yeah, I clearly it sounds like this first guy, even though he was a little bit pushy, is probably who you're more interested in.
The better fit.
Holistically. So full picture, future, seeing yourself with this person. Whereas this new person may be more attractive, maybe down for a few more things, given the conversations you've had. And that's exciting. You're single, living your life. Summer's still here. That might be interesting to explore. Maybe you need to learn a little bit more about this person. Maybe something will come out of further conversations with this new person that will make you realize maybe they're not what you want beyond the physical. I would say, back to my initial point, what's the harm in splitting your week?
I would say that I'm still
and having fun.
I like sweet and sour.
No,
I'm still concerned.
have your cake.
I'm still
and eat it.
I'm still concerned about guy number one doing up Dizzy Rascal. I love you after 3
dodgy.
weeks.
Yeah, that is suspect.
That's very weird. Chat. This guy seems very fickle, very easily,
wears his heart
overly
on his
easily.
shoulder.
Very
touched.
needy.
Yes, meaty and needy.
Maybe he just knows. Why are you hating?
Boy,
Maybe
Maybe
he
it's
just
just
knows.
part of the game.
yeah, maybe. Baby,
To
I
be
love
fair,
you.
that is a tactic of many a man. Like,
I know a
they
couple
go in
brothers.
and they overwhelm with the emotions early
for real.
doors. Yeah.
I know a
That's
couple
sus
men like that.
behavior.
Yeah, Certified Lover Boy just came out, bruv. You know what I mean? It's just that's the anthems, isn't it? Just go in and just be like, yeah.
Why not?
Love
yeah,
you.
I actually think that she should explore guy number two more. But basically, play them both is going to be the pod's position on this one. But definitely explore guy number two more, because if he's allowing you to play out some of your fantasies or whatever, you might end up with the similar sense of fulfillment that you got from guy number one without the emotional blackmail that comes with it.
Get both of them around your friends. Let your friends do a little bit of an examination of these people. See.
Go like she'll know. She knows already. She knows.
Sometimes
inside.
you can get taken in by the
you
fucking...
don't. You, sometimes, but like generally speaking, even when you think about yourselves in these scenarios, you know.
Yeah,
Like
I hear that.
Inside, you know where you're gonna like. You might be like the second guy I can have a bit more fun with or whatever. But regardless, she'll know inside which one she prefers. And like the guy, you guys had good advice as well to potentially playing with both. But ultimately, she knows what the answer is. And it sounds like to me anyway, it's probably the first Donny.
What I'm going to say is I think you should tell them both that it's your birthday next weekend. Get one to take you out on a date on a Friday and one on a Saturday, and see which one you're feeling for on Sunday. And then you can basically decide from there.
There you go. What's the pod position again? Play them both.
Yeah.
Play them both. Play them both until one of them sticks out.
It's a long time until Cocktober and November. We've got Skeptember to get through.
Facts. That's very good. That's very good.
Very good. I think it's now time for me to potentially take the lead in this thing.
Beep, 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 beep.
Is it tied?
It is tied.
Is it tied?
It is tied.
Brother,
I thought it was
come on.
3-2.
What do you mean? What are
Brother,
you trying it
brother,
for?
brother.
What are you trying it for, yeah?
Come on. Pay me the respects.
Let's go again.
Okay. All right. Episode number 24.
We here.
The quiz.
Yes.
All right,
Get
guys,
your notes
all right,
out.
guys. So we're currently 4-4.
3-3.
Oh, 3-3, I beg your pardon. Play at home, play along at home as per usual. Rules, always the same. 5 questions. Each answer is a number. Sum your numbers at the end to get 1 grand total. You man ready?
Let's go.
You got the calculators and the note
Calculators are up.
tabs and all that ready?
I just go straight to the calculator,
Okay.
baby.
I got notes.
Good, good. The first 2 questions are fairly easy.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Question number 1. Emma Raducanu made history yesterday, winning the US Open. How old is she? Nice and easy, boys. Question number 2. Another nice and easy one. Families of the victims of the 9/11 gathered at the 9/11 Memorial Plaza in New York on Saturday to mark the anniversary of the terrorist attack that killed nearly 3,000 people and helped shape the 21st century. What anniversary is it?
They really were easy.
Nice and easy, right? So now we get slightly harder. As you man may have noticed, the UK has been going through somewhat of a supply chain shock, not least as a result of COVID and Brexit. This has affected the supply chain of food,
Shout out Nando's.
innit, or McDonald's, petrol and other goods. In thousands, how many lorry drivers are we short? So if the answer is 10,000, your answer is 10. So to get back to a normal supply chain, how many new lorry drivers would we need? Cool?
I'm a bit loose on that one.
Question number 4. ABBA have made a return to the UK charts after revealing their first song for nearly 4 decades. Jeez. One of the reunion tracks, Don't Shut Me Down, has gone in at number X, giving the Swedish pop legends their first top 10 single since 1981. So there's a little clue at the end. You know it's in the top 10.
Thanks for that, Tommy.
You are welcome. Ready? This is the final question that had me unbelievably baffed. So question number 5. And this one is an unbelievable story. A bankruptcy judge approved a X billion-dollar settlement that will dissolve Purdue Pharma maker of Oxycontin and shield them from and shield the owners from any future lawsuits. What was that settlement? How many billions? Round up to the closest billion, basically. And there are your 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Cool.
Add your numbers up. 5 numbers, add them together. Rich, as always, you're closest to me. Very good. Johnny, what number have you got?
I've got 61.
61. And Mr. Abiadi?
99.
Nice. Good spread there. Good spread.
Very good.
Question number 1. Emma, she's
18.
18. Both of you smashed that. 9/11,
20.
20 years old. Very good, boys. So we are now currently at 38. Lorry drivers. This is an interesting
Fuck, I'm
one,
really
right?
nervous. 'Cause I changed
So
my
the
answer.
government has announced that, or has confirmed plans to speed up the process of obtaining a HGV driver license amid a nationwide shortage. Up to 50,000 more HVG driving tests will be made available each year and they'll also start shortening the application process for the tests themselves. The UK faces a shortfall of around 90,000 lorry drivers.
You've already won.
So the answer was 90,
I went 40.
right?
I was at 16 and then I went to 4. We were really fucked.
ABBA, with their song Don't Shut Me Down, debuted number 9.
I did 8. Oh,
the
Johnny,
top 10.
it's looking mad for you.
I went for 3.
And this is the big one. And you guys are going to have to indulge me a little bit. I'm going to read this to you because this is a fucking madness.
Can we
Last
just
week,
cut this episode
so this
right
is
now?
there was a little opinion. Say that again.
Can we just cut
He
this
wants to cut
episode
the
right
episode,
now?
the whole
Yeah,
quiz.
the opinion. Yeah,
Stop
the
the count.
opinion. There was an opinion piece written by Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of the of the state of New York. Yeah, she's also partly the reason for Andrew Cuomo's downfall. But she wrote an op-ed. She was the one that negotiated this bankruptcy. Basically, tried to take these men to court. Last week, a federal bankruptcy judge approved a mediated settlement that my office negotiated with Purdue Pharma, the corporate pusher that jump-started the opioid drug crisis.
Shit.
Our deal forces Purdue to shut down for good, and the company's owners, the Sackler family, to pay billions to help address the damages that they have done to our society. Purdue Pharma's opioid drug, Oxycontin, which is by now a household name to all of us, has been available since the mid-1990s, and Purdue aggressively marketed their new drug to physicians as a relatively harmless solution for pain, generating sales in the tens of billions of dollars. Eventually, Purdue pleaded guilty to criminal charges for minimizing just how addictive this product is. Over the past 2 decades, more than 750,000 people have died of opioid overdoses. Just to give you, man, some perspective, I looked this up, yeah? The 2 largest boroughs in London are Brent and Croydon. Imagine both those boroughs have gone now. That's 750,000 people.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
The equivalent, like to think about it the other way, it's the bottom 6 boroughs disappear.
I wouldn't.
Kensington, Chelsea, Richmond, Hammersmith and Fulham, all gone.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind losing Croydon, but I'd be quite upset if we lost Brent.
But imagine, that's a madness, 750,000 people. And this is where capitalism pay B. Purdue Pharma declared bankruptcy, which allowed the company to protect its ill-gotten profits and pause thousands of lawsuits against it, including ours, she writes, as in Letitia James. Worse, the Sackler family was granted all the same protections of bankruptcy as their company, even though they personally have not filed for bankruptcy.
Citizens United,
Bruh,
baby.
the justice system is a freestyle, mate.
Yeah.
It's a fucking freestyle.
The
It's
answer
ridiculous.
to that is 4.5 billion is how much
13.
they're paying.
16.
Rounded up to 5 bill gives you a grand total of 142, meaning Richard has taken the lead.
Brother.
Johnny looks hurt.
Just wrap the episode up.
Brother.
We're done.
Johnny
We're done.
looks hurt.
We're done.
Wait,
We're done.
did I go from 3-1 down to 4-3 up?
We're just-
It's okay. It's okay.
It's a sticky one still. It's
okay,
corner
or-
taken quickly territory.
Yeah. We haven't set our defense up.
Yeah.
Kanye in the spirit of God have come back
Oh.
to kick you in the nuts,
Just-
my G.
We'd almost got an entire episode without any anti-Semitism, and here to close out the episode.
Speaking of the Certified Lover Boy, I don't know if you guys saw the marketing campaign that Trojan did around that.
Yes,
No.
so many companies done the same
yeah.
thing.
Genius.
Adobe did the same thing. Bear companies did the same.
I don't
thing.
know how Adobe and these men would fit into it because the Trojan one's
You just,
obvious.
you just
right?
use multicolored icons.
But I mean, how are they
Of a PDF.
But how are they saying what though? What's their chat?
It's just general advertising. shtick.
Okay, because Trojan came out with
Yeah.
like when you're in album mode next time we got you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then the emojis were like
They just weren't
non-pregnant
pregnant.
ladies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that
dope.
was genius.
what are we
bro.
doing with it? Because is it first to 5? Is it 1 more and I fucking won? Or what's the deal? Like, what
That's
do I-
actually
what do I
true.
win?
We should set the rules
It's
now.
ad
win?
infinitum.
What do I win?
You haven't won yet.
But what do I win?
You haven't won yet.
But what are you going to get me?
But you haven't won yet.
All right. So
We'll figure it out.
let's say we go to what were we on now? We're at 4-3.
Yeah.
10 is quite a commitment.
7.
We'll figure it out. Let's keep our listeners guessing.
Yeah, fine.
Fuck it.
But there needs to be something that happens to the loser because I want to start playing.
Johnny doesn't-
So like someone else has to be quizmaster
Yeah,
once
for
we
real.
get to a certain point. So like, but the loser in this first season's duel
Yes.
has to do something.
Yeah, I hear that. We'll work it
We'll
out.
work
We'll
it
work it
out.
out.
We'll
Suggestions
work it
welcome.
Actually, please provide suggestions.
Yeah.
Suggestions invited.
Invited,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, that's us. That's episode 24. Thank you again to all of our listeners. You know where to find us. We are on Amazon Prime.
All of that.
We are on Apple, Spotify.
All of
That
that.
too.
Why do I keep doing that? We're on Apple, Spotify. Like it's
Apple-
one
Apple
platform.
Spotify.
It's so crazy. We are wherever you fucking look for your podcast. Get
All
that.
of that.
And we will be here back in a couple of weeks. Baby.
See you later.
In a bit.